the entire overarching umbrella that covers all of this is Tantra, right? So, I mean, we touched upon a little bit of Tantra in many of our earlier podcasts. But what I want to understand personally, and also many people keep asking these questions, there's so many different methods, there are so many different schools, so many different types of this. So if you want to look at it from, let's say, if I go to a property, like a resort, and then I enter into that property, if it's a very, like a big property, there will be a map in front and they say you are here. And then you will get to know, okay, this first thing I'll look for is where is my room and where is the food place. Right? That's what generally people do.
And
right?
Where is the swimming pool and where is the spa? Perhaps.
Right. That's these 4 points, and then there are other things to go around for entertainment and all these. These kind of things is what people understand, right? So like that, now I got initiated into Sri Vidya in a certain way. There are so many other people who got into Sri Vidya in certain other ways. So I want to understand the, the knowledge architecture of Tantra itself, right? Like you had spoken, Tantras come from the Agamas. Now there are so many different types of Agamas. Now there are so many different types of Tantra itself. And then there are so many different styles of doing it. Although everything is leading to the same thing, but there are so many different things that you can follow. So I just want to understand this entire map. What is this map?
So, 2 things I want to say very quickly about what you have said. Tantra got solidified in the Agamas. Tantras did not start with Agama.
Okay.
Tantra can actually go back to a time, scholars say, I'm not saying this, to even pre-Indus Valley civilization.
Okay.
Because Tantra, the origins lie in the worship of the divine feminine. So later, of course, we had the Shaiva Tantra and the Vaishnava Tantra. That's different. But it all started with nature worship, and nature worship hand in hand with the worship of the divine feminine.
Okay.
So historically, you can take it back to pre-Indus Valley.
Okay.
And then if you see where it actually started to grow, it came into prominence around the same time as Patanjali's Yoga Sutras.
Okay.
So that was about 4th century. It started growing at that time.
Okay.
When did it reach its height, of power was 11th and 12th century. Prosperous India, Bharat.
The Gupta period.
Probably. I'm not aware of the history,
from the Gupta period.
Very prosperous, even, the middle class was emerging. They had a lot of wealth, but they were not allowed to do a lot of spiritual practices because it was only one part of, the
society.
Varnas who were allowed, and the kings controlled all the yajnas, and all the middle class people and the upper middle class people could do was witness the yajnas. They could never do it
themselves
as yajamanas. So at this time, Tantra was very heterodox. It did not have, all the orthodox rulings. It was very life affirming. You didn't have to renounce anything. It was for the common man. So then it reached the height of its greatness in a way, it was being really practiced. And it was, you can also see signs of Tantra in Vajrayana Buddhism.
Okay.
It also got in Taoism also in China. So it was not only in India, it went all across the Far East, in Southeast Asia. So Tantra did get carried into all these little geographic areas. And then after the 12th, 13th century, when it was really at the height of its power, we had the Mughal invasions, and then a lot of it got buried underground for reasons that we all know. And then came the British.
European.
So what happened with the coming of the British was whatever Tantra practices were there, it came under the lens and the perspective of a Western moralistic viewpoint. For them, this was uncivilized behavior.
Yeah.
Because Tantra already was challenging social taboos. That is what Tantra was all about.
Yeah.
And then the British, with their lens of Western morality, said, oh my God, this is something that we have to put a complete end to.
Yeah.
So again, it got subsumed under all the other practices, because the British were not so threatened by the Vedic method. It was for them very clean, very chaste, and from their lens of morality, it was fine.
Yeah.
But Tantras, they felt like they had to, vanquish it.
Yeah.
They went after it, with a vengeance, that we have to, wipe this slate clean kind of thing.
Correct. Yeah.
So then, when the British left, again, slowly Tantras, the knowledge of the Tantra. But one thing about Tantra was, to a large extent, it was an oral tradition. So when we say that it is reflected in the Agamas, that was the time when it got written down. It got solidified. But it didn't mean that it started then.
Okay.
And then after all of this, we came into our own, we got independence, and then the West suddenly discovered Tantra.
Yeah.
Said, oh, here is something we can commercialize. And we have what is now known as Neo-Tantra. So this is like a brief history of Tantra itself.
Nice.
Now, in Tantra, in the classical Tantra, we have mainly two schools. One is Vamachara, which is the left-handed path, which was also with the intention of only spirituality. There was no other intention. That's why when people ask, is Tantra black magic? It was never meant for that. Somewhere down the line, it has gotten used for it, but the intention was never that. So there is Vamachara and there is Dakshinachara. So we understand Tantra as breaking off into two paths. Vamachara, they used rituals, they used substances which were taboo. So like you had the smashana rituals, you had rituals using the panchamakaras, all of that. So that became the slightly what is known as the left-handed path. And then, the aghoras and the nagas and all of that started adhering to that path. So it gave the entire Tantra a bad name.
Which gave it the name as occult sciences.
Correct.
Or occult practices.
Absolutely.
Black magic or something like that.
And then you have, on the other hand, the Dakshina Marga, which is more of still sticking to the orthodox, still very Vedic in practice. The mantras, the meditation, the rituals. And today what we practice as Sanatana, in my understanding, is Pauranic and Tantric with a sprinkling of the Vedas.
Okay.
I will get a lot of flack for this. But I'm putting it out there because this is what experts on this subject have said. That our pujas, the punaskaras that we do, are all Puranic. With a little bit of, quite a bit of Tantra and a little bit of the Vedas in it.
So Puranic in the sense the deities are Puranic. The rituals that you do are very tantric in nature.
The upacharas. Because we are ascribing them to the Panchamahabhutas and all of that.
Yeah. And the philosophy.
The little bit of mantras which come from Vedic origin.
And also the philosophy, right?
Right.
You.
Because Vedas are pure philosophy.
Yeah.
Tantra is pure practicality.
Yeah.
It's like, they say that it's like the horse and the chariot. So the Vedas are the horse and Tantra is the chariot. Behind the horse. It's like that.
Wow. Makes a lot of sense, I think. Right. Okay. So in terms of various different types of Tantra, right? We have the Shaiva Tantra and all that. Can we talk about that?
In the Agamas, there are three distinct, perhaps five, but three that are, more commonly spoken about. The Shaiva Tantra, the Vaishnava Tantra, and the Shakti Tantra, Shakta school. So the Shaiva Tantra has 24 Agamas. The treatises, as it were. The Vaishnava Tantra has 108, although I think somewhere down the line, Vishnu worship has become all about bhakti and not so much about Tantra. And Shakti had 64 of the treatises.
Okay.
So these are the numbers.
Okay.
If you're talking, hardcore numbers.
Right.
So going back to the Agamas, this is how it's placed.
Okay.
But even for Shakta as Agamas, it has its origin in the Shaivik tradition.
Okay.
And I think the entire tradition of what we practice today as Sri Vidya Tantra comes from Kashmir Shaivism.
Okay.
Because it is from the Shiva Agama that I think Shakta texts started coming out.
Okay.
Because if you look at the Agamas, they are a dialogue between Shiva and Parvati. All the Agamas. They are talking to each other, trying to understand the universe. And there is one point where Parvati says that the Vedas and the Agamas are the two hands with which I guide my devotees. Nice. To which Shiva says, in Kali Yuga, the Agamas, more than the Vedas, will be useful for your devotees.
Nice.
So, which again makes sense because in today's world, the philosophy in itself, as a Western scholar once said, philosophy is just like dressing a corpse. Unless you put some practicality to it, it doesn't serve any purpose. So Tantra lends that practical aspect of how to actually utilize a philosophy.
Nice.
So then you have the Vedas, then you have the Tantra, and then all of this comes together in the Ashtanga Yoga. Because that is actually on the ground practicality, even more than Tantra.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the Ashtanga Yoga means the Yama.
8 limbs of
limbs
yoga.
Of the
Yes.
yoga, which you actually do.
Correct.
Right.
Which you put into practice every day.
Right. Okay.
Which covers all aspects of living.
Okay.
Starting from what your moral, ethical behavior has to be to how you reach samadhi. Yeah. Those 8 limbs of yoga.
Correct. And then, so Yama, Niyama, Asana, and then Pranayama, and then
Dhyana, Dharana, Pratyahara, Samadhi.
And which leads to that.
That's correct.
So that's the culmination of it. So yoga, again, I would like to stress on this same factor like which you said even before also. Yoga, as you see today, is not just about the asanas or the exercise. It is
not about contorting your body into a pretzel.
Yeah.
It's about preparing the body for meditation. Because if you want to meditate, then you have to have a stability, a stillness of the body. Yeah. Because without that, meditation is not possible.
Correct.
So yoga is just a preparation for meditation.
Yeah. Namaste. The cycle of life, birth, school, university, work, marriage, luxury, travel, and whatnot. All these in the pursuit of happiness, isn't it? We are told you're not enough, you need to do more. In the process, we lose sleep, we lose peace. Quarrels and disagreements lead to walking away from situations and people. At some point, you will start thinking, where is happiness? What is the purpose in life? This is exactly the situation I was in 2-3 years ago. And I started seeking genuine. My ancestors have answered these for me thousands of years ago in the form of Vedas. There is nothing, absolutely nothing, that can match the breadth and depth of Vedic wisdom. Well, we all know nothing can be achieved without practice or sadhana. Sadhana app is one of the beautiful resources that has helped me find my purpose in life. The sadhanas done through the app helps me look at daily life objectively and with equanimity. It helps me do my swadharma step by step for the purpose of collective dharma. If you truly seek peace, calm and happiness, I would recommend to make Vedic wisdom part of your life. And what better way than Sadhana app to do that? Check the captions below for details of the app and download the app to experience a complete shift in your life. क्योंकि साधना से संभव है. Thank you for supporting so far. Please do like, share, comment and subscribe to Prana Stories. So then coming back to the architecture of this, the knowledge architecture of this, you mentioned Shaivagama, Vishnu Agama and then Shaktagama, right?
Yes.
And under Shaktagama comes the the Dasha Mahavidyas.
Yes.
Right? And where does Sri Vidya, so under Dasha Mahavidyas, whatever I know, are the Kali, the Tara, the Lalita.
All the 10 wisdom goddesses have their own Vidyas.
Okay.
All of them have.
Okay.
It may not be common knowledge, but all of them do have.
Okay.
Some are Mahavidyas.
Okay.
Some only Lalita Tripurasundari has her own, which is all the more powerful, which is called Sri Vidya.
Sri Vidya. Okay.
Yes. But all of them have their own Vidyas.
So Kali has her own Vidya.
It is a Mahavidya, yes.
Tara has her own Vidya, and Chinnamasta,
Bagalamukhi.
Everybody has their own Vidyas.
Yes.
Okay, so Sri Vidya is, Lalita Tripurasundari's Vidya is Sri Vidya.
Yes.
Now, I also heard the terms Kadi Vidya and what is that?
Hardi Vidya.
Hardi Vidya. And where are they?
Those two are specific only to Sri Vidya Sadhana.
Okay.
And because we have what is called the Panchadashi mantra, right? So that's a 15-syllable mantra, which is exclusive to Sri Vidya Sadhana. In that you have Hardi Vidya and Kadi Vidya, where the mantra starts with Ha, Hasa Kahala Hrim. That is called Hardi Vidya.
Okay.
And where it starts with Ka I Ila Hrim, that is called Kadi Vidya.
Oh,
Those two are parts of Sri Vidya. It has nothing to do with Dasha Mahavidya. In the broader scheme of things, although all of it comes under Dasha Mahavidya, this is specific to Sri Vidya.
Wow. So that's what. There is Tantra, then there is Shakti, the practice of Shakti, and then under that there is Dasha Mahavidya, and under the Dasha Mahavidyas, the third goddess is Lalita Tripurasundari, and under her is the Sri Vidya, and there the branches come to Kadi Vidya and Hardi Vidya.
Also, I think what we've missed out is when we were talking of Vamachara and Dakshina Marga. In Dakshina Marga, you have 3 different varieties.
Okay.
You've got the Kaula, the Mishra, and the Samaya.
Okay, now you'll have to explain that.
Okay, Kaula Marga is where it's entirely ritualistic. Where it's purely outward, okay, which is like Bahya Puja,
okay,
right? Then Mishra is a combination of a little bit of ritual and a little bit of internal.
Both.
And then Samayachara, okay, is
very
completely internal. And Sri Vidya, even in Lalita Sahasranama, it says Samayachara Tatpara. Okay, so she loves Samayachara most.
Okay.
So the attempt is to internalize everything. But it is not possible to start with something which is very esoteric and internal as a practice. So that's why we have to go through all these processes of the Navavarnas, of all the rituals outwardly, and then finally internalize it through the yantra, the mantra, the mudra.
Right. So all these Shaiva Agamas and the Vishnu Agamas have their own yantras, right?
Yes.
Because we spoke about the yantras.
Yes.
Sri Chakra is the epitome or the king yantra of
They're all taken from that same yantra.
Okay.
So if you want a Kamala yantra, even the Dasha Mahavidyas, they all have their own yantras.
Okay.
Okay, so you can just extract. You take how many ever number of petals you need to give this story, take the number of triangles, and then build a narrative around it, and then it becomes like Ganesha Yantra, Kali Yantra, Kamala Yantra, whichever you want, you can extract from this Raja Yantra.
Right.
Same for Shiva also. You can do the Shiva Yantra, Vishnu Yantra, Sudarshan Yantra.
Yeah, and the same yantras are also applied because the chakras that are there in the body, they also have the geometry representation of the chakras itself, right?
That's correct. With the petals and the bindu and all of that.
So it's not just the deities. Even the chakras have a geometrical representation.
That's correct. And in Sri Yantra, we forgot to mention that the 9 avarnas are also related to the 9 chakras. We know of the 7 chakras. There are 2 more chakras called the Soma chakra and the Manasa chakra. So the 9 correlate with the 9 chakras.
Wow. Okay. Another question that I had was, now you also mentioned the Shaiva Agamas, right? So the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, does it come under that, or where does it fit?
So the Vijnana, like I said, all the Tantra, these agamas, they're a discourse between Shiva and Parvati.
It's like
So,
the oldest podcast.
right. Because it's a dialogue.
Yeah.
And they are asking each other questions so that there is greater clarity.
Clarity.
One can help the other where there is a lacuna. And the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, as far as I know, is one of the most seminal works
Okay.
from all of the agamas.
Okay.
Where a lot of light is shed on how to integrate practices of Tantra.
Okay.
Of all the three, whether it's Shiva or Vishnu or Shakti.
Okay.
I think it covers all the three aspects.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was specifically about Bhairava, or just Shiva.
No, because there is no such thing if you look at Sanatana itself.
Yeah.
At no point can we say that it's only about Vishnu or it's only about Shiva. It's like all of them exist at the same time. It's like you cannot have one without the other.
Yeah.
So Vijnana Bhairava Tantra speaks largely, 90% of it is about Bhairava Sadhana and Kala Bhairav and all of that. But it also does, because without Vishnu you can't have the Dashavataras. And without that then you can't have the Dasha Mahavidyas. So they're all connected. Interconnected.
Yeah. So it's like so diverse. The diversity in Sanatana Dharma is like 1000x. Right, you can have your own Ishtadevata, and the diversity is so diverse.
And you can choose to be a Nastik, which means like you say, I don't believe in the Vedas.
All of this.
Or you can say, you can be Charvaka and say, I don't believe in God itself. So, and you can still be a devout Sanatani. I mean, that's the beauty of our religion.
Right, yeah.
It's something which I cannot stop talking about. It's the diversity and the freedom that it gives you. There is nothing to hold you back. You be who you are, do what you want.
Yeah.
And you can still be a Sanatani.
Correct.
And a proud, devout Sanatani at that.
Yeah. I mean, the other aspect of it is that because you can do your own Ishtadevata and all that, there are these community fights that happen that, my God is bigger than, I mean, even within Sanatana Dharma, Vishnu is greater than Shiva, Shiva is greater than Shakti, all these, trolling in between these sects keep happening. That is also
So first we have inter-religious issues and fights.
Yeah.
And then we have intra-religious. It's very unfortunate, but it's a fact of life which we face every day. Advaita Vedanta is so important today for this reason. It is more relevant today than ever before because it shows us that we are all just one. We are all just reflections, mere manifestations of the same universal consciousness. So even Carl Jung would be very happy today to know that Advaita is essentially what he was also talking about, right?
Yeah.
As like the subconscious or the unconscious or whatever it is.
Right.
And Advaita Vedanta has a message for all of us that there is always room for other gods, for other forms of worship, for other religions. We have to be open to everything. Yeah. And I think for me, that is the most beautiful aspect of Tantra, that it allows you to explore without fear-mongering. It doesn't say the moment you look away from Shakti that she's going to abandon you. You should not feel disloyal. You should check everything out and then come back to her fold. If you so desire. Or if not, it's fine. Nobody is going to ever stop you in the path.
Yeah, fear-mongering happens a lot between these communities, right? A lot of fear-mongering happens. Fear-mongering also happens in terms of the gurus not having a guru, having a guru, and the guru themselves saying that without this, if you do that, something else will happen. All these things keep happening.
I think there is no space for fear in spirituality, because everyone who comes on this path is seeking something greater than themselves. And when that happens, I think you should bring with you a certain degree of vairagya. that we are here with a reason for a purpose, and after this we surrender.
Yeah.
Whatever comes to us is the best thing that can happen to us at this point of time. We don't understand it now, but at some point that comprehension will come.
Right.
That understanding will arise.
Nice. Okay, so I think I fairly understood a little bit of this entire multi-ocean tantra. It's not easy to even comprehend such a big thing, but at least I would say to the audience that it's like a, what do you call, the biggest menu you could ever have, and then you can
peel off one layer at a time.
Yeah, you can have any of it, you can consume any of it.
True, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. Even after you peel off 100 layers, you realize that you've only reached 1% now.
1% of it, yeah, it's that big. So,
but start somewhere.
Yeah,
it's important to start the learning somewhere. Start some kind of sadhana at whatever position you're in life at this moment. Eating non-vegetarian food, no problem. Consuming liquor, no problem. Grihastha life, no problem. Just start something.
Yeah.
Because you don't know where it will take you.
Yeah. Start with the conviction and the true intent.
Little bit of devotion.
And
a lot of anugraha will befall.
I think that's a good parting shot to end.
Can I close with a blessing for everyone who's listening?
Sure.
Which is from the Sri Suktam, which is from the Rig Veda, which is the oldest Veda. And I find it immensely potent.
That'll be superb.
I would wish that upon everyone who's listening.
That'll be superb.
Om Shri Varchasvamaayushyamarogyama Vidachobhamanam Mahiyate Dhanyam Dhanam Pashum Bahuputra Labham Shatasam Vatsaram Dirghamayuhu. Shri Matre Namaha.
You can just end it with what does that mean?
Shri Matre Namaha.
No, the
blessing,
to the audience, yeah.
The blessing is for abundance in all aspects of life, from longevity to having good food to having good offspring to prosperity and fertility and all of that, which comes from the oldest of the Vedas, the Rig Veda, and from the Sri Suktam.
Wow.
It's a blessing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this. And I hope everybody watching this or people not watching this also get the same.
Sarve bhavantu sukhina.
Yes.
Thank you, Praveen, for having me on your show once again. It is an honor and a privilege. Thank you for this opportunity.
Our pleasure, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Shri Matre Namaha.
Thank you. Shri Matre Namaha.